Hey everybody, this is my 55-gallon Gourami tank, and I'm just in here to get the lights turned off for the evening, but I've been standing here looking at the tank for a few minutes, and I decided I would go ahead and shoot a little bit of video and share some thoughts on it. If you're a regular viewer, you will know I've been discussing this tank for a while now. I've had this sort of outbreak of disgustingness growing everywhere in here, and I've not really been able to identify exactly what's going on or why. But I did have somebody point out to me that a lot of the really grungy, gross stuff in here that I keep talking about is actually Beard algae. And it occurred to me that that's exactly what it is. And you would think after all the years I've been keeping fish, I would be able to identify Beard algae when I see it. But that is indeed what I've got going on in here that's really given me the bulk of that ugliness. But you can also see, if you'll notice on the front glass here, that reddish tint. That is definitely not Beard algae, or at least I don't think that's Beard algae. Maybe it is, I don't know. But I tend to think I've got more than one thing going on in this tank. So the question is, why? I've got other tanks that are as heavily stocked. I feed all of my tanks about the same. Not really sure what's going on in this tank to make it so nasty like this. And I don't know what happened to start it down this road either. It was doing fine. Oh, I don't know, a couple of months ago, I guess, I did a treatment with some Hemi clean. And that's fairly routine for this tank. I do it a couple of times a year maybe. This tank has always gotten some grunge and some grime and stuff in it ever since way back. And so that's always been part of the normal maintenance. Once I've done that, the tank usually straightens back out, and it's months and months before I'm getting, build up to where I feel like I need to really do something to the tank again. And the last time I did it, I don't know what I changed, but I changed something in this tank, and this stuff has just exploded on me since. So now that I know that I'm at least dealing with the Beard algae, which is, from all I can gather, a nightmare to get rid of once you've got it established in your tank, and I think it's fairly safe to say I've got it established in my tank here. So what I'm going to do to get it out of there is a little bit of a mystery to me. I haven't thought too much about it. I have had people recommend many times over the years to simply black out a tank for a few days, and that will kill off algae and cyanobacteria and stuff like that. I've always been a little dubious to those claims. My understanding of that would be that if something is tough and durable as cyanobacteria or algae that has literally been around since the dawn of time, if that's going to get killed off by the blackout, isn't my cultivated, light craving, lily pad over here, isn't that going to suffer equally or worse than algae from blacking out a tank? So I'm not so sure I'm willing to black my tank out for 3 days. I also don't know what that would do to the fish. I'm sure whatever it would do to them, they'd recover from it. I don't think I'm going to, kill any of my fish or freak them out too badly. But, fish and animals do have circadian rhythms as well. And that's why, in the same way it's not good to leave your fish tank light on for 24 hours a day. That's not healthy for your fish. I would imagine it's not really healthy for your fish to just stay in darkness for several days either. So, again, that's probably a little bit being overly worrisome about, the emotional state of my fish. But at the same time, I'm not going to lie, that is something I think about. And so I don't really know what I'm going to do. I will probably cut back on my feeding very much. I'll probably start feeding the tank maybe every other day and maybe put less food in when I do it. I might get in there and start doing maintenance a little more frequently, see if I can't bring those nutrients down, bring the nitrates down a little bit in the tank. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll even go with reducing the lighting on the tank and putting some different lighting on there. I really do like this nice, bright shop lamp. It's an LED shop lamp, but it puts a ton of light in the tank, and it's not necessarily the highest quality light either. And cyanobacteria and algae and the more primitive plants tend to like light that has more greens and yellows in it. And cheap LEDs will often have a lot of greens and yellows in them, and that, you can really get some algal explosions by putting what you think is a nifty new LED on your tank or a nifty new light bulb on your tank, and you find out you get this, explosion of algal growth, and it's because of the quality of light you're putting on your tank. It's not necessarily the amount of light, but it's the quality of light. It's the color spectrum and the wavelengths of light that you're actually putting on the tank that the algae and these more primitive plants are able to utilize more than the, more modern plants. And even the ferns in there, which are very primitive in themselves in their own right, even ferns are fairly modern plants compared to algae and cyanobacteria. So again, those more primitive plants do utilize what I would tend to think of as crappy light, the garbagey light that doesn't do well for our cultivated plants. It does really well for our nuisance plants like the algae and the cyanobacteria, which isn't technically a plant, but it's sort of like a combination of it's a symbiosis between like an algae and a bacteria at the same time. It's kind of like an odd crossover. And in fact, it's probably such an early odd crossover, it's probably the beginning of plant life as we know it. So again, we're talking about stuff that goes back to the dawn of time, literally the dawn of time, and it's not easy to get rid of. It's been around for billions of years for a reason. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on what I'm going to do. I know that wasn't a lot of thoughts on what I'm actually going to do, but I just kind of tend to keep everybody appraised of what's going on, and that's what's going on tonight. I haven't really done anything other than go feed everybody, and now I'm going around and shutting the lights out. So I'm going to call that the end of this video and say thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. You never know what you're going to get with me, and of course you want to watch the unfolding saga of my Gourami Tank here, and you never know how this one's going to turn out, so hopefully we'll get this algae under control. So thanks for watching this one. I'll see you real soon in the next one.